Hello. Well, this is Dick Dingus. Is this Anaya?
One moment.
I'm looking for Anaya Clock.
Back up plenty of food anyway. Lord, as Susan comes by, give them a can.
This is Anaya of Spotlight. Please leave me your name and number, and I will call you back as quickly as I can. For the month of December, all of my herbal remedies are buy one, get one up at Artisan Elements in Homer, New York. Also, any orders over $50 will get free shipping if ordered through my website, clockwisecreations.com. New message, I'll call you back. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Good morning, Anaya. This is Dick Dingus. I had your contact information from Judy Cook, and I sent you 2 emails, one last night and one this morning. The one this morning invites you to join a Virginia Beach Friends of IANDS meeting in which someone, Lena Zafar, is going to tell her near-death experience. And I sent the Zoom link. I will talk with you at a later date, but I'm getting ready for the meeting. It's going to start in about 15 minutes, 10 o'clock. So if you could join us, that'd be great. Thank you. Bye. Morning. Yeah. I have a cough too, and my voice is hoarse.
I don't know, I'm still on that and it's winter, but everybody's sick. My friend, Whitney.
All right.
Right.
Hey, ladies. Hey. Oh, is he?
Do we have a drawing for today?
No,
Okay,
I asked Neil to let me know when he gets the books together, come on and get them after.
about a free admission the next months.
The lot of our members will fix it.
If they're not a member, they get a.
What do you do for members of? Well,
Well,
let's just wait, let's I'll try to start, you know what I was thinking too? If you don't mind, I might just take it and buy a book. So we got the money. Maybe decide on a really good book. And if we get 15 people in the book, you know. I don't know, but. I'll touch base with Neil again, see how he's coming on his, getting his books ready, so. But I'd like to give away something every time.
Okay.
Well. What about, what if, these came out, what do you think?
Okay,
What comes by for these?
Right.
Okay,
Hello, my name is Dick.
my name is Whitney. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Wendy.
I think. Down, we're gonna do a drawing for folks.
Sure.
Or right down for you.
Whitney, H-I-T-N-E-Y.
H-I-T-N-E-Y.
Yeah. How does this work?
We have around 10 o'clock, we're gonna have a speaker through Zoom, and she'll tell us about her near-death experience. We can ask questions when in the process of her presentation or afterwards. I make a recording of it, and people can get a copy of the recording if they want. I can access it, it'll be on my Zoom. We do this on a monthly basis.
Yeah, not that part. I actually met Karen. This is our first time hanging out. I work at Lowe's and she was my customer last month and I couldn't come last month. Well, my husband just passed away 59 days ago. And he was only 68 and into health and wellness, and all of a sudden he had a heart attack. I've been going through grief. So I'm excited to do that, you know, to learn and.
Okay, have you talked to anybody about your loss and your baby?
Sometimes I feel like I could use some kind of counselor or whatnot, but I don't have insurance right now. Yeah, but however, hundreds of people have reached out and sent cards and, you know, I have a lot of friends and I actually, me getting sick was a kind of a blessing because I had so many people reaching out that I just kind of am like in this bubble where, you know, there's this meme I saw on Facebook. It's like, I'm in this bubble and people are reaching in like this and I'm at the end of the bubble going, you know, because I was just, you know, I need time to process everything by myself and people, now that I'm single, you know, everybody wants something from me. And
We're just talking about it.
yeah, but
There's a flyer up at the front there. Let me show you what it looks like. In fact, I'll give you one. Here's my phone number on the back. If you get to the place where you need to talk to somebody, you can call me. I don't charge anything. It'll just be as a friend, but I know a lot about near-death experiences and dying and what happens after that.
this is
Hi, Ann.
Hi, are you?
Good, thank you. Hello, Don.
Nice to hear, yeah.
that's my husband. He is an absolutely phenomenal person. Everybody loved him.
What was his name?
Bud.
Yeah.
Think I saw you last time, I saw you keep for with that so many times. There were a lot of issues, so I'm glad. I found my car too old. 50,000 miles, so the winter, so all kinds of issues couldn't start. Thank God, it's not the worst. Don't have to be driving that much. You been busy?
Yes, and enjoying it.
Good, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm regarding that is.
Gave me a flyer where I saw this, or if I actually went to the site. I didn't realize I saw something that said this on it.
We don't have a website. It's just a flyer, a brochure, and then people meet. We meet.
No, she had given me a flyer of some of the past speakers.
Okay.
Maybe it said it on. Cause that stuck out, like it said strangers no more.
Morning, Kathy.
Hi, good morning, Dick.
Yep, good morning.
Finally got through.
Good.
Yeah.
We have 5 of us so far in this room,
Okay,
and you're the only other person on Zoom right now.
well, somebody might come in.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Oops, I gotta take a phone call.
I think we started around 2004. I was a pastor for a long time, and I learned about near-death experiences, and I thought they had something to add to our religious perspective and spiritual perspective, and so I began exploring it, and I couldn't stop because it's so interesting. Well, I did lose a spouse, but that was about 3 or 4 years ago. The interest for this was mostly philosophical. The Bible talks a lot about heaven, but doesn't say, mentions heaven and the belief in heaven and angels and God, but doesn't give a lot of explanation. If you talk to a near-death experiencer, you get a lot of explanation. So I wanted to hear as much as I could. So we've probably interviewed 150, 200 near-death experiencers and have that on record, and learned a lot. And also related fields. So it's just an enjoyable experience to learn more about what you like: God, spiritual realm, life. The main point is, I used to be a hospice chaplain too. So there are 2 points that I had with families and clients who are in hospice. One is that life doesn't end. You only go through a door to the other side. The other is that loving relationships endure forever. You're not really separated. Only physically you're separated, but not spiritually. So loving relationships endure forever. Those are the 2 things. Hello, Anne. I think I need to call my speaker. Oh, there we are. Hello, Lena.
Hi, I'm trying to call you.
Okay, well, you got me.
Oh, hi. So I don't have a Zoom link. I've looked through all the emails you sent me. There's no Zoom link.
All right, let me give you the link.
Okay.
Can I give you the meeting ID number and the passcode?
Absolutely. Let me just put up my Zoom. And go ahead, meeting ID.
592 894 3634. We start with the number 3, large T as in tango, the number 4, small W as in Washington, large R as in Richard, and the number 6, 3T4WR6.
Morning in progress.
There you are. I see.
Yay.
Okay, I'm going to hang up the phone. You're on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry about the delay. I was trying to find the Zoom link and here I am.
We're doing fine. We're still waiting for anybody else to come into the room, but I can start now.
I don't have a problem waiting a few minutes. I don't mind.
If anybody, when you brought your cell phone in, you might put it on mute so that it doesn't embarrass you by ringing in the middle of the meeting.
Do that in mine too.
And I welcome everybody to Virginia Beach Friends of IANDS. We're one of the many local groups for national or international IANDS. And we meet on a monthly basis. We feature speakers who have had near-death experiences or researchers. Sometimes people have had spiritually transformative experiences. I record it to my Zoom cloud and make the recording available to anybody that would like to see it. We have a membership. We usually ask a donation of $10 if people come in the door, or they could pay an annual membership of $30 and get in for free, all for the whole year. So that's a break. We have other things available, a Facebook page, a website. We have monthly meetings. The flyer for next month is on the table. Lisa Marie Bonsek will be our speaker. And I also have on the table a flyer for Strangers No More. You may have seen it. It looks like this. And you're welcome to attend that. We have near-death experience speakers on Thursdays. And we have dinner first, but you can see all that. Any other announcement? I don't think so. I'm going to start recording. It is recording already. Okay. I would like to introduce our speaker, Lena Zafar. Lena had 2 near-death experiences and a spiritually transformative experience. And because of that, she has a great story to tell. And I want to turn the program over to you. Go ahead, Lena.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the invite. And thank you for everyone who's shown up to hear me speak. I can't tell you how much that means to people who've had experiences and a crazy story to share, and happy participants willing to sit and listen is such a gift and an honor to us. So I just want to acknowledge that and say thank you for your presence, for your attention and listening. So thank you. So yeah, my name is Lena Zafar. I'm currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada, but I've kind of circled around the globe in different states and lived everywhere. So, you know, my story kind of jumps around. But essentially what has brought me here this morning to you guys is these experiences that I've had. I've recently, in the past maybe 4 years, 5 years, I've learned to put words to them. So near-death experience, spiritually transformative experience, out-of-body experiences, and downloads, insights, all these words, you know, are beautiful words that I'm learning. So I'm going to share my story of what happened using words that we all understand. So about 11 years ago, I just had an 11-year anniversary. So 11 years ago, I'm going to start off with my second near-death experience. 11 years ago, I went from being a happy, healthy, I want to say it was almost 40-year-old mother of 2. I had 2 young children, a 5-year-old son and an 18-month-old daughter, but seemingly very healthy, normal life. And something unexpected happened. First, I got sick. I caught a common cold, which typically happens to most of us around this time of the year. But mine was a little bit different than normal. I experienced this sharp pain in my chest every time I took a breath. So the alarm of that was so much that I was like, this is not normal. So let me go get checked out. And what turned out to be just, let's go get checked out and make sure everything is okay, turned into a 9-day hospital stay. And in that 9 days, I spent the first 3 days in the regular room, I'm assuming, hospital room, and where they were checking me and doing all the tests. And it even seemed on the Thursday that I was doing much better because there's a picture of me sitting up next to my doctor. Most of my 9 days was my husband at the time, who was by my side with my family, took a lot of pictures. So there's a lot of documentation of my 9 days in the hospital in video and picture form. But On the third night, I got worse, and then they ended up transferring me to the ICU. So my story is kind of like from the perspective of what happened to me on my NDE, and then what happened to me here on earth while my body was in the hospital. So while my body was in the hospital, what was happening around me was for 5 days, I was in and out of consciousness. And the only thing that I have a memory of is waking up and saying, please let me go home. Please let me go home. I've got 2 kids at home. I just left them in the middle, like at 10 o'clock at night, just to come and see what happened. And I've been here for so many days. Just let me go home. I'm fine. But that was the only memory. So I'd come to and want to go home, and then somehow that would be the end of it. But on the 5th day, something extraordinary happened. In those 5 days, my health progressively deteriorated. Both my lungs started to, I don't know the words, waste away or become unusable. I'm not a medical doctor, but so I lost both my lungs. I was unable to breathe on my own. I had the help of breathing machines and things on my leg to keep my blood pumping, but I was not doing good. The doctors in the hospital informed my family to, say their last goodbyes, because nothing they were giving me was, I was not responding to anything. So I kept getting worse and worse and worse until the moment that I didn't. And this profound thing happened. I just got up. I just got up. And I sat at the edge of the bed, and I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm good. I looked around and I noticed I'm in the ICU room. So I look around. But strange thing is as awake as I was and aware of my place, my presence, and my space, I looked over to my left, and what I saw was my actual physical human body laying on the bed, and recognized it as my body, but there was no emotional attachment, pain, worry. No, it was just like, oh, there I am. I'm laying on the bed. And as I noticed that I'm laying on the bed, I also noticed that there was like 4 people on both sides of me on the bed, kind of like standing around. Couldn't see faces, but I just saw 4 individuals standing there, seemingly like it felt like they were wearing like white hospital coats or whatever, but it was very like, it was unclear, but I knew there was 4 people. Did not know who they were. And I don't even really think I stopped to care or question anything. It was an awareness of them. And in this moment, as I'm coming back to and looking around, to my right above me, I'm starting to hear a sound. And that sound, the voice, is coming through very loud and clear and very calm. It's the sound of like a woman, a female, feminine voice. And it says, Lena, you need to hurry up and you need to go back. You need to go back. And that's what I hear. I'm like, okay. So I'm not having any thoughts in my mind. Like, I'm not thinking anything, but I'm fully aware of what I'm looking at, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and what I'm feeling. But there's no really thought process in me. I'm just observing. And as I observe the sound, the voice telling me this, I'm still looking around. I happen to look over to my left now. And as I'm looking over to my left, what I see are those 2 children that I've been waking up for and asking to go home. So when I see my 2 children sitting there, it's almost like there's another layer of explosion of light that happens. There's this, as mothers, fathers, how when you're away from your child and then you're worried and then you finally see them, there's this just like this joy and relief and like, oh, you're okay. And that, it's like when I saw them, my soul just relaxed. I was completely happy. I was filled with love. We want to call it light, love, energy. I don't know all of it, but just seeing them soothed my soul. It soothed the light in me. Everything in me just felt at peace. And in that peace and in that moment, I kept looking further out into the distance, and now what I'm seeing is I'm seeing past the white hospital walls. I'm seeing past my space, but now it's like I'm seeing outside of Earth, not even outside my window, into the air. I'm looking outside of Earth, and where I'm at is I can see the beautiful dark black skies, but they're clear black skies where you can still see. Kind of like when you look at a clear black night, you can still see the stars and you can still see around, but it's black like that. So as I'm looking in the darkness, what I noticed is a few rows of people sitting, and these people that are sitting in these rows, they're all facing me. And it's interesting because I don't hear them and I don't see clearly who they are, but I see their silhouettes. And I'm already so happy, so beaming with love, and so content that I know that these people are the people that are still here on earth. My family and friends. They are my, the people that are visiting me at the hospital while I'm laid out. These people I can see them sitting there, and I can't hear them, but I know they're all praying for me. That's the knowing I had. And the beauty is that I couldn't hear their prayers. And it's funny because all these years, 11 years, I was always wondering, like, how come I didn't hear prayers? They're praying for me. How come I never heard anything? And what was given back to me as a response or an understanding is that because prayer is just words, and words are different for different people because of the language they speak. So it's really not the words, it's the intention, the emotion, and the feeling that we carry when we pray. So I wasn't hearing their words, I was feeling what they're feeling in this moment of prayer for me. So I thought that was just absolutely beautiful. And in that understanding and awareness, as I look at these people, just like I'm looking at you, Anne, I can see you, Kathy and Dick Dingus, just like I'm looking at you, as I come and I put my eyes on you and I look at you, all of a sudden you rise out of the screen and you come close to me, like 3D, like in the movies. You just rise up and come near me. And when I look at you closer to see who you are, you're not Kathy or Anne anymore. What you are is you're the light of a candle. When you light a candle, the little flicker of light, all candles, no matter how big, how small, whatever shape they all have the same size candle, right? That same flame, same size. And what I recognized and noticed that no matter who you are on the outside, the light in you is the same. And I looked at each person, several people, as I looked at them in the audience. And what I noticed was they all became light. They all became light. When I looked at them with love and gratitude, they became light. So that was so much emotion that I cannot explain to you. But at that exact moment, it's like, boom, unplugged, TV's off, lights off, pitch black, everything ended. Everything ended. And the next few memories I have is me going home. My husband was checking me out of the hospital and taking me home. And I'm driving home in the car. And I'm thinking, I know what happened. I know what I saw, but I really have it's like my mind is this blank, empty container. The only thing within it was those precious moments and memories, and then knowing that I was going home to be with my babies. So at that time, it was first week of January, and about 2 years ago, I requested hospital papers, and also my ex-husband shared some photos and images with me of me in the hospital. And one of the things that I received back was the documents, my hospital release letter. And you know how they give you the hospital release, and then there's always a little prescription for something. There was a prescription on a prescription pad, and the date on it is January 12th. 2014. So magic, miracles, there were so many miracles. The first, before I go to the miracle, my son at the time was about to turn 5, and his birthday is January 13. January 13. January 11, I was considered almost dead because they couldn't revive me. Both of my lungs had given up. I was no longer breathing on my own. And I don't know if I'm sure you guys all know that certain, our body, like the lungs, if our lungs go out, we need medical treatment or transplant or whatever. And it's not a easy journey. It's not. I mean, it's unfortunately, but here I am, January 11, I get up out of bed and I'm completely fine, 100% healed. Both lungs completely healed. The only thing is I was in a state of, I wasn't in a coma, but I was in a state of comatose because of the medicine or whatever, but I wasn't conscious the entire time, except for when I woke up and asked to go home. But nobody ever told me why I was in the hospital. In the 5 days, I didn't know my condition. In the 5 days in the ICU, I had no idea I was in the ICU or why I was in there or what was happening. All I know is I got up, and nobody told me that that's what happened to me. Nobody told me that I woke up and I was okay. None of the stuff, even like, I was just, I was in the hospital, now I'm going home. Okay, yippee. I went home and I carried on as if nothing happened because I had no idea. I had no language. I didn't know I was dying and I died and I came back. Nothing. Nobody said one word to me. And then on top of that, when I came to in the hospital, I came back into my body, but I wasn't conscious. I didn't come back. My soul or spirit came back into the body. The body, as known as Lena, this person, sat up on the bed at some point. I don't know what happened. I don't know who saw me first. I don't know what my words were. I don't know what I did, but something very interesting. 2 years ago, my ex shared a few pictures with me, and I should have pulled it up. I might be able to share it in a few minutes if we have time. But there's a picture of me, and there's a picture of me after I woke up, before they released me. There's a picture of me sitting up in a hospital bed, holding a burger in my hand and eating a burger. And there's fries and drink on the table. And I'm like this. It's timestamped. So it's kind of like, thing is I have no memory of that. I did not know that even happened. I did not even know I woke up, or I woke up hungry. I don't know who asked for food because I don't recall. I don't even recall eating the food. I don't recall that day at all. Like, it never happened. But there's a picture of it. So there was a lot of questions. All these things was crazy because when I came back, I didn't know all these things happened. But as you guys know, because you're in this world, I'm not the first speaker you listen to. You're very well versed and I'm sure knowledgeable with the after effects by now, which I was clueless. So here I am walking on this earth, not knowing what just happened to me, not knowing about the miracle that just took place, not even realizing that the other miracle that God gave me life before my son's 5th birthday, the day before his birthday, so that he wouldn't have to have a life of grief and trauma, losing his mom on his birthday. Like, that was a huge gift to him, to me. Oh my God, maybe it doesn't affect anybody else on this planet, but it affects my family, my kids. And my daughter, she was 18 months old at the time. And at the time I was nursing. I was a nursing mom. So moms, you know what it's like to nurse, and you know what it's like to be completely, taken away. What happens to the physical body, my body, and what happens to the child. So there's so much physical trauma, emotional trauma, mental trauma. There's just chaos happening in the world. But I'm oblivious to everything. So I came back and I just picked up life as normal. Went home, picked up my babies, clueless as to what happened to me, and proceeded to live life with all the after effects. And it's been a crazy, wild journey. It's been a gift. Oh my God, I wish I had another 6 hours to sit with you guys because I have so much to share that I really, honestly, I'm trying to condense it to share the most important things. But when I came back in the hospital, that portal that opened that brought me back, I wasn't aware of it. I don't know how, but I think it remained open. I don't think it ever closed. Whatever higher powers, whatever it is, I have no words for it. But, oh, I actually have an image for it. I'm going to share something with you guys. A week, 2 weeks ago, remember we had that special moon? I forgot what it's called. But anyways, that night, 2, 3 nights ago, I went and I took a picture. This is the picture I took of the Las Vegas sky with my iPhone. And you could see the moon and you could see these portal of light. That wasn't planned. Look at that. You see that portal? That portal of light? Wow. So I'm using it as my background image now, but that portal that opened up, that I came back into this physical body that was deteriorated, that was no longer working, and instantly healed, magically healed lungs, human lungs, instantly, miraculously healed everything else in my life too, in a miraculous way. I came back and I just, I picked up. And then I've had series of, going back in and back and forth between there and here until 3 years later. 3 years later, finally, the universe had enough of me walking around oblivious to my experiences. So it guided me to an experience. Excuse me. So 3 years later, for fun, a couple of my cousins said, Lena, let's go, because I was on vacation now back to California, and they wanted to take me and treat me. They're like, hey, let's go to a float tank, one of those places where you go for massages and different things. So they have these things called float tanks. They're also known as sensory deprivation tanks. So they're like, oh, let's go do this. And let me just tell you, it had been 3 years. I had been through something that my own rational mind still had not processed because I had no awareness of it. There was no language. The idea of it never existed in my mind. I grew up, I was 40 years old when this happened. So I've had a long life, 40 years on this planet, completely clueless with spirituality, completely clueless with any other religion except the one that I was born into. I came from a rich cultural background, a family, full family here that, Islamic faith, Muslim faith. So I grew up in a Muslim family. I never adhered to it because it never made sense to me personally. As an experience, I just had too many questions that went unanswered. So I was really never connected religiously to Islam or any other religion. Because when you grow up in Islam, there's these 5 pillars and there's these rules and there's no room for another religion, because if you leave Islam, that's the end. Physical death, spiritual death, whatever you want to call it, you get stoned to death, whatever. But this is the reality of what I grew up with. So I just floated in my own little world, not religious of any kind, nothing. So 3 years later, I go to this float tank, and the float tank is sensory deprivation. So I lay down in this tank of water, completely pitch black, dark, quiet. The water heated up to the temperature of my body, so I don't feel like I'm comfortable beyond measure. And when I laid there in that tank for the first time, I had the most spectacular, the most amazing experience one can have in life. I had it in that float tank. And I didn't understand it then because it blew my mind. It's taken me many years to understand it, but let me tell you what I understand about it today. Today, what I understand about what happened to me was I had a spontaneous spiritually transformative experience in that float tank. Even though I had an NDE 3 years prior, even though I'm having all these after effects, sensitivities, insights, downloads, driving me absolutely crazy because I didn't know that that's what they were. So I lay down, and I guess that's the moment where the universe just explained everything to me. It just gave me everything I needed to know in that experience. And when I laid down in that float tank again, I'd never heard the word meditation. I'd never heard any of these words: chakras, alignment, spirituality, nothing. The only thing I knew about Jesus was Jesus Christ with the triple thing, which I never understood what any of that meant. Clueless. I'm telling you, I was ignorant. Nothing by choice, but by choice. I didn't want to. So when I laid here, instantly, I was transformed. And in that darkness, something magical happened. And again, in that darkness, I opened my eyes. It was pitch black. But this extraordinary thing happened. I could see in the pitch black clearly. And in that pitch black, when I say I could see, I can't see. I lifted my hand up in front of me in the darkness to see if I can see my hand. Pitch black. I was like, oh, open, close makes no difference. It's that pitch black. But now all of a sudden, my eyes opened up. And now all of a sudden I could see. And what I could see was this beautiful wave of, like, the best way for me to describe it so you can visualize it. If you've ever seen somebody smoke, especially in the cold outside, and if they hold their cigarette still, the smoke that comes out at the tip of the cigarette, this beautiful circles and waves, and this, it's just beautiful. I know smoking is bad, but if you've ever watched that, or next time, I hope you, if you're just look at it and remember what I'm explaining to you. I saw that beautiful air ribbon, just beautiful white ribbon of air just come over my head. I'm seeing it come from, it's almost like I could see behind me laying down, but I see it coming from behind me, and it just comes up and it comes up and it comes near me, and it just comes right into my nose, and it just goes right in my nose, and I'm breathing it. And the voice, that voice that I heard in my NDE, that voice says, just relax. Take 3 deep breaths. And I laid there, and it just relaxed. And I took a deep breath, and I kept breathing this beautiful ribbon, and I was completely transported. I was gone. It's like, psst. But I was fully present, because what happened next was this voice started talking to me. And the thing is it just went right in. And after it told me to relax and calm down, it started to talk to me about, because as I was laying in the water, I was having discomfort in my neck, and laying down still, my body kept fidgeting, like in the water. Because you have to understand, I don't know how to swim. I'm not a swimmer. So to ask a non-swimmer to lay in a tub of water with no lights at all, I don't know what, what was inside me that allowed me to do that. I have no idea, but I did. So as I laid there, the voice says, those are your chakras. And for the first time, I had a conscious thought while I was there. For the first time, I stopped the voice and I said, what are those? What's that? And I took a mental note, and I was like, okay, I have to look that up, because I'd never heard the word chakras. So it proceeded to talk to me, and what it told me was that these were my chakras. And once I learn about my chakras, that I will find out, or I will learn how each chakra is intertwined or connected with my life, right? That I will be able to heal myself by looking at the chakras. And the two chakras, it pointed out to me it pointed out two chakras for me. I don't know, it didn't talk about anything else. It gave me the insight, the download, but it pointed two out for me. The voice told me that the chakra that was on my belly, and I'm assuming that's the solar plex because it didn't say 1, 2, 3, but it said belly. So I'm assuming it's the third one, solar plex chakra, said that was my power center. That's where my power is. And then it told me about my chakra in my throat, but it didn't tell me anything about it. And it told me that this was my chakra that needed attunements, my fifth chakra. And you have to understand, I have no idea what a damn chakra is, anything. So, well, that passed. That was like, okay, that lesson's finished, carried on, moved on. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what time it is. It's 7:30. Are we okay with time? Okay.
Yeah, yes, we're good with time.
Okay. So I'm in the I'm still in the float tank, and I learned about my chakras, and then now it's almost like something interesting happens that it just changes scenes, like it just changes scenes. And the next scene that comes too is the scene of me being in a tunnel. So this is interesting because in my NDE, I didn't go through the tunnel. So it was never there, but I went through a tunnel. I went through a tunnel in the float tank in my STE. And it was a very interesting experience because my awareness was I was inside the tunnel, but I was inside this vehicle. And as I'm going through this tunnel in the vehicle, I'm also in the tunnel, but outside of the vehicle. So if this is the vehicle that I'm in, and this is the tunnel, I'm sitting at the top inside of the tunnel, and I'm watching myself sit inside going through, but I'm also aware of being inside it going through. So as I'm going through, I have this awareness, and I think it's from the second point that the vehicle that I'm in, this vehicle, this hand, is the vehicle that carries me. Well, this vehicle keeps shifting as it's going through the tunnel in high speed, because all I can see from the inside is the speed that I'm going towards the light that it's at the end of this tunnel. I see a clear round light at the end of this tunnel, and I know I'm going fast. But my second awareness is noticing that the vehicle that I'm in keeps changing. It goes from a car to a big ship. It goes and it becomes like as if I'm inside an airplane, the cockpit of an airplane. And then I become like a bird. But as I come closer in that transition of going through that tunnel, I'm also aware of another awareness. There's this awareness that I have of me looking down on earth at this mountain peak where the tunnel is, and I can see, I'm sitting watching the tunnel, and I can see that I'm in the tunnel. So it's almost like all three awarenesses are separate, but they're together, because I can be in this one, or this one at any time. And that was really a mind bend at the beginning, because I was like, but as I'm going through this tunnel, something incredible happens. It's because as I come closer to the light to come out of it, I notice that, well, to the left of me, there's more light coming in, kind of like a lattice, like opening. So I could see more rays of light coming in right before the exit point or entry point into the light is. But as I'm coming out, right as I come out, like at the tip of the door where it's like I'm here, the exit is here, and I'm being exited out into the light, everything falls off of me. The only thing that comes out at this point is just me. There's no car, there's no boat, there's no plane, there's no nothing. What comes out of this tunnel is me. Like I come out, and I come out into this open air space, but it's me, but there's no body because I don't fall. I'm just there. It's like I come out and then part of whatever you want to call air that's in the sky, that's like me. And I'm looking at everything and I'm experiencing heaven on earth because what I'm seeing, what I'm witnessing is me coming out of this mountain, but where I'm at, it's almost like there's this like three beautiful mountains. There's one on here, there's one in front of me, and then there's a mountain that I'm coming out of. So there's just like these 3 points, and inside in the middle of it is this beautiful, deep, deep, deep valley open, right? I don't know if you've seen images. So beautiful. So beautiful because when I look out, it's almost like, you know, that beginning of winter, that first snow, because I used to live in the East Coast, that first snow where that air is cold, but it's not cold, but it's that perfect clear. You can feel it in your lungs as you take that breath in this beautiful, that cold snow, but it's not cold. It felt like that, like every breath that I was taking was going in, like through me, clearing me, like that cold, crisp air of, you know, that first snow air early in the morning. So I'm just besides myself because I'm in utter peace. And this beautiful bird, and I've had this intense connection with a particular type of bird, and that's the hummingbird. All my life, I've had this weird connection with hummingbirds. They literally make my entire body like this, like, which by the way, I got to download an insight about that because in my experience, excuse me, I'm sorry. In my experience, when I came out of the tunnel, it was almost like just like I'm sitting here looking at you, and you know, I'm sorry, you know, Anne and Kathy, and when we look at each other, our faces are about the same size on the screen, close enough together where we could see each other. It was like the bird and I were face to face, and we just looked at each other. There was just this silent exchange. There's no words. So it was so real, I can't explain it to you. So I always wondered, what were you trying to tell me? What's the message? Why were you there? Because, you know, everything has a reason. Nothing is without reason. Everything has meaning. And so I searched for the meaning of that. What is the meaning of that bird? Why was it a bird? Why was I seeing a bird? Why did I feel like a bird? What, you know, like all these things. And although I have much to share about my experience, but this is the first time I'm sharing this. This particular meaning about the bird, and it's symbolism to my experience and to my life here on earth because it's so profound. I wondered a lot about what the significance of the bird was, both in the tunnel and both me coming out of the tunnel and in seeing them. And also as I was looking at this beautiful heaven on earth, I saw these beautiful, incredible colors of flowers, patches of flowers, and flocks of birds just flying through the air, but like in these colors. I cannot describe them because when I say color, yeah, I was, you know, the reds and the blues and the yellows and the greens, but there was this like sense of electricity where you could feel them, you know. So I saw this beauty around me and I was just mesmerized, but the bird really got my attention because the bird stared at me. It looked right into my eyes and into my soul, and I didn't know what and why. And so that really consumed me. So before I get to anything else, I want to talk about how this has impacted me in life here in this past 11 years. In these past 11 years, I see a lot of hummingbirds in life, in pictures and images. They're just always around me. And the download that I received was this, and this is beautiful. So Do you know how a hummingbird is one of the only birds that I know of? And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't like to say things that they're what this is the only one like this, because then somebody always shows up and says, no, there's another one. But for me, the hummingbird is the only bird that I know of that is so tiny, that flies so fast, that can stop right in front of you and be completely still and not move and suspend in air. And then just like that, they can choose any direction to go, and they're gone. They have this speed, but they also have this inner calm. And what I understood was to be like a hummingbird, right? Before, I felt my life on the outside, my life felt still and stagnant. I was going through life, but nothing was happening. It was almost like as if I was a bird, I couldn't fly, right? Because my wings are not working. My world around is not moving. But what was happening is that movement that was supposed to be happening in my life outside was except now happening inside. My insides were like this. I didn't have peace inside. You know, I sensed that there was this vibration in me that wasn't calm. I didn't feel at peace here. And why was I not at peace here? It was my thing. And then one day I was on my walk in Texas, and I came by this tree, and then this hummingbird showed up, you know. And it's weird because when I do a lot of walks, and no matter where I walk, no matter when I walk, I always try to walk on trails where there's trees on both sides, and there's bushes and there's nature. I try to stay away from paths where there's humans and buildings and places. So I always find places to walk. And every time I walk, there's always one or two hummingbirds that walk with me through my path. And they always come and they sit 2-3 trees before me. I get to it, and we have this moment where I stop and I give them love, because I'm like, oh, you're there for me. So we have this exchange. I know it sounds crazy to somebody, but I have this exchange with them, and then I move, and then they keep moving with me. So there's this constant, like thing. But what I got for me was I needed to become like a hummingbird. I needed to bring the calm that a hummingbird has when it suspends itself in midair, because that takes inner peace and inner stillness for a hummingbird to stand in front of you in stillness and still go that speed to do that, right? So there's this element of, be so calm in your life that no matter how crazy the world around you is, you could still be at peace and you can stop. And that you have your wings, that no matter what happens in this world, you can move wherever you want. Because when you have peace here, it's almost like you can use the energy of the world to serve as whatever you want to call it, to move you around. And that's the download that I received. The reason why hummingbirds and I connect so much is because of that. Is because when I look at the hummingbird, I think, oh, how lovely it would be for me to be able to flutter around this earth like the hummingbird and fly around in the speed that is beyond extraordinary, but yet have such stillness and calm inside me that I could stop at any moment and take off whenever I wanted, and to be in the earth like a bird, and to roam around. Like, I know I'm in a physical body, but even within this physical body, you could still do that, because it's taken me 11 years, guys, but I did that. The first 11 years, my insides were like this, because I couldn't make sense of my world around me. My life fell apart first. The first 5 years, I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know what happened to me. I didn't know why the things were still happening to me. My sensitivities, my ability to feel people, hear people, see people, my ability to taste people's emotions and their food drove me absolutely crazy. I could feel things in ways that made no sense. And if I tried to, even in the nicest way, if I tried to come and talk to people or share what I was feeling, it was sometimes not received well. So there was a lot for me to learn how to be within myself and to process this crazy world around me and not get engaged and not have to face and save and worry and do things for the world, to just be in my own space and be in my own peace and be healed within myself. And I believe I'm doing that. You know, I have such peace now in my life. My life is still a big mess. If it's a big mess, by the way, and I'm still working on it, but it's a beautiful mess, and I'm grateful, and I see my life as a miracle, and I see the gift of the miracle that I received. I can also see how when others receive it through this sharing, telling story, the emotions and the energy that I express out and that you feel is also healing. And that's what I've been given. And this is the reason why I show up and I speak and I share, because I don't know what happens. I'm not, but I know magic happens for me and for the people listening. So I mean, I think I kind of want to stop there because there is more to share, but I would like to give an opportunity for questions, because I know I said a lot of stuff there, but if there's none, I'd be happy to share more, but whatever you'd like.
We want to entertain any question or comments. Who would like to be first? We have maybe 6 or 8 people here in the room, and then we have 2 others on Zoom. Who would like to be first? I could be first. I would like to ask Lena, you had an experience of consciousness outside the physical body. This is often the first thing that people learn when they have a near-death experience, is that the physical body is not the only place in which we can have a consciousness. Our consciousness can be in the body or outside of it. I appreciated that. Yours was, you sat up on the edge of the bed, you looked back and you saw your body on the bed, so you knew you were outside your body. That's interesting. I like that. The second thing I noticed about your experience was that you had what appeared to be a spontaneous healing.
Yeah.
Really, your lungs were in poor condition, but when you woke up, they were perfect. Do you have any idea was there a purpose for restoring you to health?
That's a big question, because that's a question I asked myself many times. Oh my God. Yes. Now I believe there is. It took me many, many years to understand that. First of all, I didn't know. So I struggled with a lot, but I kept asking that question myself. And for the longest time, I wasn't really getting an answer. And that's because I do truly believe that I came back for many, many reasons. One of them was, at the very beginning, I was sent back to be a mother. I was sent back to take care of my children. Before I got married at a very late age. I got married at age 30. So my first child, my son, I had him when I was 33. So and most moms are usually a lot younger when they have their first babies or when they have babies. So it's a different experience, but I can tell you for my personal experience, I was 33 when I had my son. And I also had another health experience and other experiences that led me to believe that I could not have children. So when 30 came and, I got married, and I was almost certain I couldn't have children. So when I got pregnant with my son, I wasn't trying to get pregnant. I had given up on I thought I couldn't have kids. So I wasn't really consumed by anything. I was just living my life. Well, when I got pregnant with my son, it was like, oh my God, this is a miracle. And this is before my NDE. So I was always one who believes in miracles. I've always believed in miracles. Why, how, I don't know, but I always believed in miracles. So when I had my son, I can't even tell you guys, I was living a miracle. I was already on my miracle because I was 33. I was happily married. I was healthy. I had an incredible family, great life. Everything was perfect. And I had a son that I never thought I could have. So as you can imagine, I quit life. I became a stay-at-home mom. I had a husband who had a great job, and I quit my job and I stayed home. And I was like, there is no other job on this planet that I would rather do. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about accomplishments. I didn't care about nothing. You couldn't get me away from my child for nothing. I lived and breathed being a mom. My son, I lay down on the couch so my son can take his naps on my chest. I was that kind of a mom. So when I had my NDE and it was all around my children, I didn't think about anything else because I was consumed with being a mom. I was consumed with my children. And then when I had my daughter, oh my God, I dreamed of having a daughter. So when I had my daughter, she was 18 months old. I was the happiest woman in the world. I had 2 kids, a son, a daughter that I thought I never could have. Okay, so that you understand the level of love and gratitude I was living in before my NDE, I was in bliss. As a mom, I thought I couldn't have kids, so I had 2 miracle babies. So you can only imagine my days were filled with love. I had oxytocin gushing through my face and through my nose every time I nursed my babies. I'm not a normal human because when I would try to explain that to my friends or cousins, or they would think, okay, Lena, you're weird. And we all have kids. Nobody love their kids like you. Back off a little bit. Like I would get weird comments like that. And I was like, okay, well, I can't help it. You love your kid. I love my kid. I love my kid the way I want. I would just gush because I would literally get a chemical reaction, oxytocin release right here. And you could taste it and you could feel it. So when I had my NDE and I saw my kids, it stopped. I came back to be a mom. I came back into this world for it's been 11 years, guys, 11 years. I've done a lot of great things in the past 11 years, but for the first 5-6 years, I couldn't work. I couldn't be around anybody. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't figure anything out. The only thing I could think about and figure out and be was to take care of my kids. And that was really hard because you can't be on this earth and just sit there and look at your babies and love them all day. You still have to do other things like work. And in the same time, my life was also falling apart. I moved from California to Houston. My marriage ended in divorce, so that's not fun. It's got its own things. So I was going through a lot, trying to juggle going through a divorce. I had a 3rd child. Before I got divorced with my husband, we had a 3rd child, and then we got divorced. But my life was really, it's really been happening on this unfolding it's hard to describe or put to words, but this sharing part, this talking about it, is not only healing for me, but I feel like healing to the world. For the first time, I feel like my mission has finally been passed. Me being back for my kids alone, excuse me, because now my kids are all older. My youngest is just turned 10 last week, the baby. And then my other 2, the 5 and the 18-month-old, my son he just turned 16 because it was his birthday again. In January 13, we just celebrated him. And then my daughter is going to be 13 in April. So kids are getting older and my responsibilities are shifting and changing. And now it's like the universe is asking me to speak up and talk because I come with still very, very deeply connected. And, I get a lot of you know, conversations, connections, downloads, insights, wisdom, all that. It's like that portal is just still open like that. Still this day, it's still like that portal is still open for all of us, not just for me, by the way. But I recognize my portal, so it remains open for me. But now I am sharing with the world all the gifts that I come with and all the things that I've, tools and abilities that I've used to find that balance for myself, to make my insides calm like the hummingbird, and to make my life sizzle. Right now, my life is sizzling on the outside, but there's a sense of calm and peace in the inside. I still have a lot of, wonderful things happening. And to be honest with you, this past week has been absolute. Oh, my daughter's been really, really sick. My son sprained his ankle in basketball. My other daughter's not feeling well. So life doesn't get better when you have an NDE. It really doesn't. We still deal with the same mess. We still deal with the same stuff. And, not only healing my own self, but my children and the world around me. But I realized that I have some incredibly special gifts to do that. And I'm doing that with me and my children. I want to share that with anybody who's looking and searching. I have no intention of stepping into anybody's life and convincing or changing or anything to anybody, because I realized we all have our own mission. We all have our own path, even our path to ascension, our path to, spirituality. Everybody has to have their own time. I cannot, come into somebody's life and tell them to become spiritual because it's better for you. No, because everybody has to go through their own process. So that has been another huge learning thing for me, is like, I heal not by healing people, by telling people what to do. I heal by sitting here and sharing my story as it comes out to people who are interested in wanting to sit and listen, because that's where healing happens. Because I don't heal, but I create the space and the frequency and the vibration and the energy that healed me and that heals me today. And I just create that environment, and we all show up and have an interaction. And I don't know if that was an answer to a question, but that was a very long answer.
That
So-
was what I was waiting for you to say. My observation of other near-death experiencers that have spontaneous healings is that they were healed in order for them to be able to share their story with the wider audience, because the truths that you've experienced are not evident to many people who live like muggles. They just live in the five senses. But you know that consciousness exists outside the body, and you've experienced some after effects. I wanted to ask you about those. You said you were very sensitive to other people's feelings. That's called clairsentience. You're aware of that? And often that is one of the side effects or after effects of having had a near-death experience. It's, I think you mentioned it, it's like you went through the portal, but it's like the portal remains open. Could you comment on that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are all empaths, right? You're sitting there right now listening to me, and you've heard my story, and you've all had moments of and this, and you felt emotions. That's empathy. And I have it too, but mine is on like steroids. So for me, I can feel people. Okay, this is kind of weird. So yeah, so I can feel people's energy. I feel people's emotions. I can feel people's emotions by looking at them. I can feel people's emotions by listening to them, their voice. I can feel people's emotions by the energy they leave behind on whatever they touch. So if you enter a room, I can feel your emotion. If you cook me a meal, I can feel your emotion in the food that you feed me, even if I don't know you. It's crazy. But these sensitivities, yeah, I found out later, much later, that there's actual names for these clairsentients, clairaudience, all these clairs. Well, I didn't know that these things existed. I didn't know. I thought I was a freak of nature. I mean, I was okay. My sensitivity was so strong to where I could feel and see things beyond what the person was showing. And I didn't know that they weren't aware of it. So when I would say something, sometimes it would be news to them. And then I would think, are they in denial? Or am I crazy? And I was like, no, they're in denial. But they look at me like I'm crazy. But now I'm crazy because I can't justify or explain it. So now I have to just kind of shut it out and ignore and move it away. But after a while, when you do that, it starts to build up in here because it's not that the person is bad. So when people talk about negativity, negative person or bad, I don't see it that way. Like when I look at a human, I still see them as the light of the divine. I still see them as pure love. And that's where the difficulty was for me, because I couldn't switch from feeling divine love for people and seeing their batshit craziness. Right. And it was very difficult because I was like, okay. And until I realized that what makes people bad is not that they're a bad person. It's the thoughts that they think, and it's the emotions that they feel. They don't have to be a bad person, but if they're in fear of something, if they're thinking negativity, if they have bad intention, or if they have the intention to pull a fast one on me or cheat one, or to like, I don't know, whatever, I could feel it. And for me, it takes time because I've learned that. So that sensitivity really had me kind of thinking, okay, how, what, why? But I eventually found something that explained it. And if I could talk about that, that might help. So what really helped me understand my sensitivity was understanding how I was able to pick it up and why I was able to see what I see. And I discovered all of that in this beautiful modality called bioacoustic biology, which is the study of the frequency of the sound of your voice. So, which is interesting because you know how I'm speaking to you? You are hearing words, but you're hearing the sound of my voice. It's not the words, because you guys have heard these words in a combination from hundreds of people. You've heard a lot of speakers talk about NDE, STE, but it's not really the words that you are feeling. It's my emotions, it's my energy and my words that you are feeling. Because you can have two people say the same sentence, but you can pick up who's lying and who's being authentic. So that right there gave me an indication that it's not just it's not our words that give us away. It's the sound of our words that has the magic in it. So I discovered what my sensitivity meant was that I was able to hear past what the spoken words are. I'm able to pick up on feelings, emotions, energy, intention, and stuff. And I believe we all do. We all do. You feel it. You feel it. I just have a greater awareness of it and a deeper insight because of where I've been and because of my ability to see, because of that. But I believe we all have that. We all have the same abilities. So that's another reason why I'm here sharing, because what abilities I have, you have the same potential. You have the same ability. There's no difference. So.
Thank you for sharing that. That's what I was hoping you would say.
Oh.
It's another truth that you're expressing to people that are unaware that they have an energy that they extend and affect everybody else. And you were able to read that energy.
Yes.
Tell me, Lena, about your experiences of healing. You said earlier that you provide healing opportunity by listening to people. Can you do more than that? Can you extend energy to affect the cells of someone else's body, for example?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, okay. We're all familiar with Reiki, right?
Yeah.
Reiki energy.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm very, okay. It's very interesting because here I am, a person who speaks things or says stories that sounds completely wacko and woo, right? All these things that I say, but I'm also very skeptical. Very skeptical. Here right now, everything that I look at and I break it apart and I make sure it makes sense to me before I buy into it. So everything I do, everything I see in this world, I literally can see layers into it and see where the connect and disconnect is. So Reiki was another one of those things like chakras and meditation. I was like, well, what is it? How does it work? Come on. Like, really, you're going to put your hands on me and I'm going to feel it? I never bought into the stuff. I even became certified in Reiki myself through the IANDS conference 3 years ago. So I practiced Reiki myself, but it was really when I started to practice it, when I saw what it does to people, that I was like, oh, really? That happened? That did? Really? Okay. So that's why I know it works. So in the past few years, I've had to learn to understand, make sense of my world around me and how I experience things and how I understood things. And I told you that I got into bioacoustic biology. So bioacoustic biology is the study of sound, essentially. So I really went into a deep dive into that, and I really understood sound and frequency on another level. So you know how I told you before, your voice is a holographic insight. So the sound of your voice contains all the information on the state of your mental health, emotional health, and actual physical health. You know how you wake up and you have intense pain somewhere in your body? And then you talk to somebody and you're like, oh man, today I'm just not feeling good, and the person who knows you or doesn't even know you can tell you're in pain because it reflects in your voice. Or if you're sad or if you're happy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be negative, positive or negative. What you feel exudes out of you, exudes in your voice. If you're thinking, right? If you are thinking like, if your thoughts are like, oh my God, this is so exciting and this is so evolving and you're growing, the excitement comes out in your voice. But if you're thinking of fear and lack, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? We're holy shit. And like, if you're thinking that, even that comes across in your voice. So, but we humans are so good at camouflaging what we feel inside, thinking we can kind of hide it, put a pretty smile on our face. Inside, we could be feeling depressed, but we show up and we like smile. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing much better today, even though I'm in depression or my knee is throbbing of pain, but I'm doing good. I'm resistant. I'm taking, we can put this front on, but what's happening is still in your voice. And that's what I can find. That's what I detect. So you can tell me what you want to tell me. What I'm able to do is I can tell you what's going on within your body, mental, emotional, and physical. So, and I do use science and technology as well. But often I find that it is through the energy that I feel, that the energy that I radiate, the energy that comes off my hands. I don't know I'm curious as to what everybody feels, but if you rub your hands together like this, you can build enough energy to where you can, if you go like this, you can feel that pull, right? Can you feel that? It's almost like you have invisible rubber bands in your hand and you're pulling it. Like if you were to be a child playing with, what is that stuff called? Anyways, my kids play with it. Slime. It has that energy. That's energy. That's the energy. You create energy within your hands. And when you have the right intention here and you feel loved and you create this energy and you just you radiate that energy to you. And when I do Reiki, I give that energy to somebody. So some of the things that has come back to me, that's shocked me, is I had somebody who had severe allergies to where, it was really bad, to the profession that they were in, the products that they were dealing with in this particular industry, which I will not really talk about, but this particular industry, well, it doesn't matter, but people who, so you know how the whole marijuana weed dispensary business. So there's people in different layers of the business. So the people who do the farming and the collecting and the sourcing and that, what I have learned is a lot of those people, because they come into contact so much with it, such heavy doses and such a pungent plant, that they start to have these allergies, severe allergies when they get close to it. It's really bad. But this particular person came to me, and I think we did like maybe 3-4 Reiki sessions, and then they left. And then a few weeks later, came back to me and said, guess what my friends noticed? I said, what? They said, they all came up to me and they said, hey, how come you're not struggling with the same allergies we are anymore? What did you do? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I no longer feel the allergies being around here. And to this day, the person does not have an allergic reaction, and he's still in there doing the same work. I mean, that's just an experience that I've had. And then, you know, with my own kids, you know, I give them Reiki and they heal. I don't really do a lot of doctors and stuff. I've managed to heal things on myself that I was scared for, and I went to the ER and they couldn't help me. I came back and healed it myself instantly. So I know there's power. I know there's magic, and I know that somehow I'm able to tap into it. And so I will keep sharing until we figure it out. And, you know, and I know that others have it too. So yeah, I don't know, but I
Well,
do believe in energy healing.
yes, thank you for explaining that. That's another truth, that we have energy to share. People are unaware of this. So, and that could be shared in a positive way to have a good result for other people. I'm wondering if other people have comments or questions.
You're on mute, Kathy.
Kathy, you need to unmute. There you go. Not yet. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Prior to your experience in the hospital when you had your lung problem, and your life was in really good shape, stable and happy, did you ever have a feeling prior to that time that somebody was guiding you through your life?
Oh, I always knew that.
You always knew that. Okay. My second part of the question is, after your NDE, at the time of the lung problem, did you sense the intensity of it? Did that feeling intensify?
Oh,
Or did it stay with you, or did it intensify?
I think it intensified after my STE, not NDE. After my NDE, to be honest with you, I didn't have much thought. My sensitivities were more stronger. But the thing is when I came back from the hospital, my sensitivities were strong. Everybody around me, because I was like, I would make comments on things that I was feeling and seeing, and you know, it was like, well, for the longest time, my family thought I was crazy. Some of them still do, believe it or not. There's a lot of people that I'm still wacko, but that's okay. I'm no longer attached to that because I understand why. Before it would hurt, but sorry, I kind of drew a complete blank. You asked me what was the question? Sorry.
Did you feel after your NDE, but you're saying no, it wasn't as intense, it was more after the other experience you had, that you felt somebody was guiding you?
Yeah, so it was my STE for sure, because, and I didn't even really realize it until about 4 years ago, until about 3-4 years ago. Now I am certain. Now there's no doubt that that's the case, because I'm going to tell you why. I didn't think at first that that's what was happening. To be honest with you, if anything, I knew I was being prepared for something, because I knew the downloads that I received. I knew that the visions that I had, I knew the experiences I had. I had I had in my experience also a moment where I merged and I met with the light of Muhammad and Christ. So I knew that this was so big that this is not ordinary. I was beating and vibrating at a level that I couldn't understand myself. And for the first few years, I felt very lost and abandoned. I felt very alone. I felt very scared. I felt very terrified just because of the magnitude of what I felt and and the way I was being received here. And I knew that if I was to share that, it was not received well, and it was very difficult because you have to understand, here I am, somebody who, you know, comes from the Muslim world, in the Islamic world. I'm surrounded by Muslims. My family, my friends, my acquaintances are primarily filled with Muslim people. We're very, very connected kind of people. I mean, where I'm from, we're all over the world because our country was war. So there's people spread around the world, but we're all connected. We all know each other. It's like a network. My so-and-so knows so-and-so, and they know so-and-so, and they live in Germany, and they live in Switzerland. We're all connected. I have an aunt in one country. I have family members in every state, in every country imaginable. That's how big my families are. So, at first, everything fell apart. I did not feel guided. I did not. Everything I attempted to do, I would do it and it would fall apart. Every time I would try to get on my own 2 feet to go out and work, it would fall apart. I couldn't be out in public for long, because if I was around with the same person for so long, I would be able to pick up exactly what's wrong, what's right, what they need to do. And if I didn't tell them, I couldn't be around them. And if I told them, if they weren't ready, it would become a negative situation, because then they thought I was crazy and intrusive and whatever. So it's been a journey. It's not been easy. The gifts that I have received has not come, you know, and handed to me in this beautiful box that I was like, oh, I have a gift. Let me, you know, I had to really, really find them and heal through them myself and come through them to be able to talk about them and use them. But I was not received well at first. And this guidance, yes, now when I look back, hindsight 2020, oh my God, before I had my STE, I was introduced to Abraham Hicks, which became my biggest source of grounding on this planet. Because you know how I told you guys, I don't hear the words people say, but I hear the sound and frequency of the words. And in the words, when they match the frequency, to me, that becomes harmony, and I listen to it. There's something that happens. Well, Esther Hicks, or Abraham Hicks, to me, for me, when I hear her voice, I cannot explain it, but it's beyond her words. It's a frequency and vibration and the sound of her words. And then the actual words that lay on top of those frequencies, they just kind of go like this, and they work. And to me, that has helped me integrate and understand the world that's between spirituality and this 3D world, has created this whole new world. I guess that's what this new earth is, that there's not a new earth. We're not going to just get shipped to another planet. That comes here, but it's like this new energy, this new understanding, this new feeling. Everything is different, overlapped right here where we are.
Does that answer the question?
Mhm.
Okay. Lena, you are a person who has awakened when the rest of the world is mostly asleep. They're asleep in the illusion of this 5 sense dimension. They have no idea that energy communicates. You're also able to see beyond the details of a religion to something even greater. And so it's no doubt that you felt lost and without orientation and unable to relate to people. I wonder if you have found a group in which you're able to relate to people.
Yes, absolutely. IANDS. It's IANDS, the International Association for Near-Death Studies. And also there's several other ones, you know, okay, I'm really bad at acronyms and names, so I won't attempt, but you know, SAI, Spiritually Transformative Experience by Dr. Kaysen. She shares a lot of wisdom and knowledge. And the thing is these portals, these spaces have become like this portal of light, this guiding space for all of us experiencers. And when I say experiencers, I'm not just talking about us people who've had the transition or had the experience where we died and come back, but also for the people such as yourselves who has had experiences or not, but perhaps you have the ability to see, feel, and comprehend these experiences on such an extraordinary level that is needed for the two to merge. Like, in order for us experiencers to make a difference on this planet Earth, we need people who haven't had the experience to be able to see and understand and feel it, right? To kind of bring it together, integrate it. So this community that has brought people together, whether you're listening now or in the future, if you paid attention this long and if you're here till this moment, this is the group, because this is what we all need. We all need a place to be heard, and we all need a place to listen to something that gives us hope.
Well, you understand now that you're normal,
Oh,
that you're
very.
not crazy, and all of the things that you have experienced are common experiences for those that are awakened and don't feel stuck in a physical body, but they're aware of their energy and the realm beyond. Okay. Are there other questions or comments from anybody? Oh, I would like to hear, Lena, I'd like to hear about your vision of Jesus and Muhammad. I'd like to hear how that went.
Oh, that's a question. Okay. Okay, so this happened in my spiritually transformative experience in the float tank. So there was this moment in the float tank when I was laying in the float tank, and then all of a sudden I was out in space in the big, beautiful black sky, high up, where it's pitch black, but it's light. You could see. And I'm up in space, just beautiful space up in the sky, high up in the sky. And I have this awareness of being there, but it's not like my body's dingling. There's no body. It's my awareness that's there. So I'm sitting there as the awareness in the sky. And as I'm looking out, what I see is this beautiful planet Earth in front of me. At a distance to where I'm far away from it, to where it's probably like the size of a basketball. Earth is like the size of the basketball in front of me. So wherever that needs to be for me to look at it, to kind of see the Earth in front of me in the size shape of a basketball. So this Earth all of a sudden now, let me go back, because there's another piece that I'd like to share. I'm going to go back and share a little bit more. Before I saw the light of Christ, what I saw was the earth in front of me. And on top of the earth, there was these beautiful words. It said micro and macro on top of the earth. And as I'm looking at the planet Earth with the words micro and macro, I'm thinking, again, another split moment where Lena consciousness, where my brain has a thought. And that thought is, oh, I remember seeing those two words, micro, macro, in school. But that's the thought that I have, and that's the extent of the thought that I had. Nothing else about micro, macro is the fact that I remembered reading about micro and macro in school. So as I'm looking at the word micro and macro, all of a sudden now what I'm realizing is the earth that's in front of me now has turned into, you know, those tree of life necklaces where it's like this round necklace, and inside you can see the trunk of the tree, and then the tree of life, the whole tree of life. Well, that earth became a ring for the tree of life, and it filled it up. So the tree of life filled up this ring called earth. And what I saw was this beautiful, majestic tree. the beautiful solid trunk, and it just filled up the entire earth, an image on it. And as I looked at it, what I saw the tree in its macro state, meaning it is in full bloom. It's a full mature tree in its full maturity, big trunk, lots of branches, lots of leaves, and lots of fruits. And for whatever reason, I think I saw the fruit of an apple. I saw the apple. And what I saw was not the apple, but I saw the seed inside the apple. So I saw the macro, which is the tree, and I saw the seed as the micro of the tree. So when I saw the tree and I saw that, I was like, oh, that's the micro and that's the macro. So the micro creates the macro and the macro creates the micro. And that's kind of what I gathered from it. But except it didn't stop there. It went from showing me the micro and macro of a tree to the micro and macro of everything, from humans to plants to animals, different things. It just kind of like, it was just like this beautiful screen, and these images popped up, and every image that popped up, I saw the micro and the macro, micro and macro, human, saw the human, and then I saw the embryo, and then I saw the human, I saw the tree, and I saw the seed, and I saw the seed, and I saw what the seed can become a full tree. It was this beautiful dance of micro and macro. So I saw micro and macro, not in words, but in images and in downloads. So that was what I got. And then right after that, what was shown to me was the earth, but except this time, the earth was the round earth. So I'm going to show you something. Oh, I'm going to show you this as an example. So this is just my little toy, but it's just a round thing. So if you were to see this as a round, I was looking at the earth, round earth. There was 3 lights. It was one light coming here, one light here, and one light here. There was these 3 triangle lights. And literally, you see this right here. You see this light? Okay. What was protruding out of the earth, the 3 lights were exactly like that. Exactly, but it was that bright, the entire thing. So this entire portal that you see coming down was as bright as the brightest part of this light here. So I saw 3 lights that thick, that wide, coming out of the earth, bright white light, like that bright white, the entire thing. And I'm here and I'm looking at it. And as I look at it, now it's like, you know how in the tunnel I could be here, here, and here? So very similarly, when I look at the earth and I see the light, I'm up here observing the light, but I'm also inside the light looking at the light. But I'm also commentating on what the light is. So what I hear is those 3 lights that was there. I'm at the first one that it pointed to, it said, that's the light of Muhammad. So the Prophet Muhammad, that was his light. And I was like, okay, because up until now, I shouldn't even say this. I was very rebellious against religion. Okay. And for me, in my experience at that point, I kind of was not a big fan of Muhammad. I was not a fan of Muhammad. So I was just like, you know, but here he was in his glory and his magnificence and his light. So I'm completely like, oh, in a weird way, I was like, oh, so I guess Muhammad did exist. He is real. Because I questioned his validity. I questioned his everything growing up. So when I saw his light, I was like, oh, so he is of light. He is light. So that was huge. But here's what was mind-blowing. It pointed to the next light, and the next light was even bigger and brighter, if it's possible. It was just more fuller. But this light I didn't recognize, but it told me that that was the light of Christ. That was Jesus. And I was like, oh, so Jesus is real too. Kind of like, oh, Jesus is real. He's not a man that's made up, because you have to understand in Islam, they reference to Christ as a messenger. That's all he is. So we're a messenger. You're a messenger. We're all messengers. But so to me, I was like, okay, whatever. But when I saw him in his light, I was like, oh, that's like, that's Christ. Okay. But then the crazy thing that happened was that third pillar of light that was standing in front of them, that was introduced to me as me. That was my light. That was me standing in front of them. So that scene alone right there really messed with my head for many, many years afterwards, because when I came back, there was a lot of fear of the craziness of it. And also, I know for sure in Islam, it's looked down upon to talk about Muhammad in ways, or to say certain things, or question, or even Christ. So it was difficult transition for me to first understand, what the hell did all this mean? How Christ, Muhammad, me? What does that mean? Why was I there? How was I there? But I was there to get insights and downloads from both of them. I have, like, I merged with their lights, and I understood, and I got it. And then before it all ended, something incredible happened. So you know how it showed me on this planet as a light, as strong and as bright and as beautiful as the light of Muhammad and as the light of Christ. And what that signifies to me is that we all carry the same light. We all carry the same light, because that's the same light that I saw in my NDE. It's light as light, it's just so to be able to be in their light, to absorb their light, it's almost kind of like, you understand it on a level that is beyond words. So when I came back, I had to process the meaning of it. So it put me on I read the Bible, I read everything about Joshua. I have studied Christianity and every other religion, all of them, Islam too, because I had to kind of understand what all that meant. And yeah, so it's really shaped me. It changed me a lot. But before it ended, you know how I told you there was that earth and I was looking at it, it was the light. All of a sudden, what happened was my attention was taken somewhere else in this beautiful, vast, beautiful black sky. And now all of a sudden, what appeared in front of me was a hand, like this. It was like a hand. All I saw was this hand in the sky, just like that. And I was like, that's interesting. But you have to understand that I'm standing here and I'm seeing the hand here. And all of a sudden, from this view on this corner, my awareness goes to this corner while I'm still looking at this, and I can see a speck of light, like a speck. You know how when you look at a blazing fire and there's these little embers that fall, these tiny little round embers? There was a little ember, there was a spark, one spark, and that one spark was me. And I catapulted and shot up into the sky, and I went and I landed right in the center of the palm of the hand, and the palm closed. And just to let you guys know, I still haven't discovered what that meant yet. So I'm still processing what the significance of that is. I mean, to me, I understood it as, yes, I stood before the light of Muhammad and before the light of Christ as light on a macro level, but on the micro level, I'm a speck of dust. I'm a speck of light in the palm of a hand. And also what I was shown, that this hand signifies us in so many ways, the totality of humanity, because for this one hand to be a hand, it takes what, millions of cells to form this. Every single cell is a spark. Every single cell that makes this hand do everything it does is, if one of those cells was missing, I would have something wrong with my hand. Right? So every cell, and to me that showed that no matter how big my purpose, no matter how big my life is, no matter how big I think I am, that I'm still just a speck in the universe like everybody else. And that's what I've gathered from it, is that we are all this micro macro. We are all lights. We've all come here to have an earthly experience. And some of us that have the ability to see between both sides, we're just that. We're just light that just says, hey, don't go that way. There's a roadblock on the way. Turn over to the right a little bit. You know, there's a shortcut there. And that's all it is. We're not here to change each other's lives or paths or do anything different, because we're all here to have our own unique experience. And who is anybody to interject? Because if anybody had interjected in anywhere on my life in that point to make me do something different, I may have not had these experiences. So I look at my life as it's not my place to come and interject and change anybody's life. But if you're in that process of change and you identify me as somewhere on that path, then I am right here for you as the light. And whatever you need, I'm here. And that's how I see my life purpose and how I live my life.
Thank you, Lena. You are a light. I'm thinking about the things that were taught by Muhammad and Jesus. And the things that you shared today were beyond what they taught, about consciousness outside the body, about energy, and about the ability to heal, like Reiki. They didn't teach these things. They said that was possible, but they didn't tell the dynamics of it. And you're able to talk about it. Anybody else have a comment or a question? Not right at this moment. Go ahead. Oh, Anne. Unmute, Anne.
Hi, Lena.
Hi.
I've really enjoyed listening to you, and just very joyful experience to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Do you give readings? I mean, what do you feel when you see and hear me?
Honestly, right now I'm overwhelmed with love and joy.
Yeah.
I literally have goosebumps, and I could feel you're radiating so much love right now, and there's joy that you have radiating out of you. Yeah, it's strong, and I've noticed it through the entire hour, and it's beautiful. That's why I love what I do, because this gives me so much joy, because I feel energy such tremendous. I know that when I share what I share, it evokes such love in you that I get to receive that love back. So sometimes it's almost like I get to receive love by inducing love in you so that I can get some back. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Because when I go out into the ordinary world and I go into the schools, doctors, shopping centers, places, and I go into these places, they don't know me, I don't know them, and I haven't had an opportunity to announce my wonderful, big, beautiful light and say, hello, how are you doing, and share all my miracles to light their world. They're very, very dim, and oftentimes they're carrying a lot of pain, and they're carrying a lot of physical health issues or mental issues or emotional issues. And when I meet people, it just poof, it hits me like a ton of brick, and all I want to do and be like, okay, why don't you do this and have this and blah, blah, blah. But I realize that that's interjecting. So I have to keep myself out. So for me to feel love, I have to create the conditions of love. Otherwise it's difficult. So I feel like this right here, we've created love in the space. I've shared words of Christ, Muhammad, Jesus, consciousness, universe, miraculous healing. And you guys are all uplifted by it. And you're exuding it. Your openness and your curiosity is giving me that light. So I want to say thank you.
Good, I'm glad. And when I receive so much love coming out of you, and then I feel the love to return to you, it's like it just keeps going. It's wonderful.
It's beautiful. But to answer the question that I think you were trying to ask me was, how do I help people and how do I use it? I mean, it's one thing to give energy, and that's just done, I can give energy and receive energy, but how does this translate into the work that I do and what I do professionally? Actually, it's helped me create a professional life in a way to where it's considered professional because I can legitimately help people. But basically what I do is I actually do offer energy healing, not counseling, because I don't believe in counseling, but I believe in holding space for people to be able to come into the space that I create to see their own life. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's almost like if I was to send you to a dark, dim room and ask you to go clean it up and fix it up, right? Decorate it. It would be very difficult for you to see what color is or how it looks somewhere. It's difficult. But if I sent you into the same room with these bright lights to put at the end of the room, how is that going to affect your life? You're going to be able to go and color coordinate. You're going to be able to clean every spot, every streak. You can make everything bling and shine because you have light there. And in this world, what we need is we need each other's light. We need each other's empathy and space and relationship and stuff to be able to walk into a space and feel safe and to continue to do what we got to do. Right? We all wake up, we all go to work, we all eat, we all sleep, we all do these things. These are human things that we all have to do, and I have to do them too. But it's really nice that when you can have people in your life that serve as that light, that brings calmness, clarity, and through their calmness and clarity and light, sometimes we're like, I never thought about that way. But now that I think about it, I don't have to do that. I can do this. And now all of a sudden a new path opened up, because you're not frantic in fear and in stress and anxiety. Your ability to have a calm mind for that moment gives you like, oh, that's a different perspective. That's a shift. So that's where healing happens. But beyond that, I have become somewhat of a researcher and a practitioner in the field of bioacoustic biology. So what I also do is I actually work with individuals and I take your voice. So I take a sample of your voice and I put it into my system, and then I decode your voice. So you know how I told you that every thought you have, every emotion you have, every muscle in your body is heard on your voice? So through the sound of your voice, I can tell you which muscle on your neck is too tight that's causing you pain. Through the sound of your voice, I can tell you if your calcium is so high that your body is not able to assimilate other nutrients, so that's why you're having the problems that you're having. We really are a vibrational being. Everything about us vibrates. In the sound of our voice is a look inside our bodies, not just the physical human body, but our emotions, our state of minds, and our souls. So when I work with people, I create the space for their mental stuff, to clear away the mental disorientation, to figure out what the emotional imbalance is. Like, why are you always in anxiety? If you have panic attacks, or if you have this, what is the root cause of it? What's causing? Sometimes a deficiency in a nutrient alone can cause people mental issues and emotional issues that would go away if they get that nutrient with mental mindset exercises, which is useless, because if you don't have the right chemical composition of what you're made out of, you can mindset all you want. Do you know what I mean? You have to understand where vibrationally you're out of alignment. And once you bring alignment to that, your mindset automatically goes into the positive direction. You do not need to write affirmations. It helps. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm not talking against it. I use those things myself. But what I'm saying is if we can find the root cause of what's causing imbalances in the body, a lot of those other things naturally come back into alignment. So some of the work that I do, I have a website called Mind Body Alignment Center, or MBS Alignment Center, and basically that's what I offer there, is this opportunity to sit with people and see where where they are mentally, emotionally, physically, because we all are at different places, and help to every single person starts from a different place. Some people need help with mindset. Some people need help learning how to balance the emotions. And some people need to figure out what's out of balance in their physical body. Because if your hormone levels are off, if you don't have the right amount of serotonin and oxytocin and all the other hormones, or all the other enzymes or minerals or anything else, if any of those are out of whack, it will throw your emotions out of balance. It will throw your mental state out of balance. And you can do all the mental exercises and emotional stuff you want to do, but unless you bring your physical body into uh, balance through the basics, you're working on mindset and emotional stuff from a very maybe difficult way, or I don't know if that's right to say, but there's easier ways. It's because it's, you know, one way doesn't work for everybody because we all come from different ways. We all need help where we are at that moment. And I feel like that's where it's at. It's where each individual person is. Two people with diabetes don't have the same underlying issues, right? Two people with whatever issue does not have the same imbalances. What causes your diabetes as an imbalance has to do with one thing. What causes somebody else's diabetes could be an imbalance in something else. Both imbalances can trigger insulin resistance, right? So we call it diabetes, but each person comes at it from a different place. So sometimes having that awareness of exactly where you're off can really help you put little pieces together to make healing whatever you're dealing with a lot more manageable and easier. And it's profound. It's amazing.
Do you,
Thank you. I believe you. I believe you. And that's so much more enlightened than the medical system, which thinks
Yeah.
we should find one solution for everybody.
Any other questions or comments?
do you do this kind of work over the phone?
Everything I do is over Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
And how would you get in touch with you to do it?
So it's very interesting because the universe, you know how you said this, do you feel guided and lighted by the universe? Oh, let me tell you how guided and lighted I'm being by the universe, because I've resisted doing this work for several years because it was just way too much. Not just for me, but for the people around me, to tell people about sound frequency and vibration. People are like, what? Huh? So it's taken a long time, but I am getting ready to launch so I do have a website. You can go on to MBS Alignment Center, and I have offerings, but I'm getting ready to launch a more a program to where I work with people individually, where I really help them get to the root cause of their issues through sound and frequency. And I work with you for like 4 to 6 week blocks, because that's about how long it takes to go through and figure out what's going on and help bring some balance and harmony. And so I'm literally putting that together. It's like the universe is telling me, nope, you got to do this. So I'm doing it, and bear with me. But I'm hoping very, very soon, like within the next 1-2 weeks, I should be finalized. But it's been a long journey. This is not something that, didn't come with any instructions. None. All my experiences was very much of a there was very few words in all my experiences. So I've never really been guided with a lot of words through my experiences for whatever reason. So I've not really had, Christ come down and have this heart-to-heart conversation with me and show me a life review and tell me what to do and give me instructions and say, oh, sweetie pie, go back and this is your mission. I got none of that. I came back and I thought, okay, so I'm a mom. I change diapers all day and make meals all day and clean and laundry and do, and then what? So in that question, while I've been doing all of that, I have also been doing all of that. And now that my kids are older, I'm able to still be a mom and do the things and now I can do this work. So, yeah, I'm getting out into the world. I'm sharing the gifts, and I'm hoping to spread love and healing to whoever is ready and interested and want it. So it's not something that I go out and advertise, but I'm like, yeah.
Will you
So-
will you forward the information to Dick so he can let us know when you get in a place where we could call you and talk to you on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, my website's up. You can always contact me there. I have an email address. I'd be happy to post it for you. I'll put it in chat. And then I have, I also am the group leader and founder of IANDS Las Vegas, just like IANDS Virginia Beach. So I have my own IANDS, as you know, I speak and I also do things here. So I also do sharing groups where I hold monthly, where we just come and just hang out and talk. There's no agenda, and it's a sharing group. So I'm a facilitator for IANDS. I facilitate sharing groups for IANDS as well. In fact, I have one coming up next weekend. It's free, it's online, you just join. And then I do it also for IANDS Las Vegas, but I'll put my email on chat. lenazafri@gmail.com. And then also IANDS. So IANDSLasVegas.com, that's the website. And then so mbsalignmentcenter.com. I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. You should be able to go on there, but it's you know, right now it's a work in progress, but hopefully by the time other people listen to it, it won't be.
Any other questions or comments? Are we ready to say goodbye?
No. Me and Anna are going to hang out and talk. I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Lena, for sharing.
Really.
You are a light, a bright light. Keep shining.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, for your presence. Thank you for giving me space and undivided attention, because you don't know what a gift that is. I spent many, many years struggling to share my story, and I would get like, you know, like the looks. So this is such a gift to see these, you know, your beautiful faces accepting my story, as crazy as it sounds. So
Thank you. Goodbye then.
Thank you, Lena.
Okay, bye.
bye.